Good morning, everyone. This is Mighty Stream. Today is April the 28th. I want to greet you this morning. I'm excited to do the Just for Today in a meditation with you. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services program. Hood stands for Hope Offered on Demand. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Well, let's get into the reading and see what we have. All right. April 28th. Who really gets better? We can also use the steps to improve our attitudes. Our best thinking got us into trouble. We recognize the need for change. Basic text, page 55. When new in recovery, most of us had at least one person we just couldn't stand. We thought that person was the rudest, most obnoxious person in the program. We knew there was something we could do, some principle of recovery we could practice to get over the way we felt about this person. But what? We asked our sponsor for guidance. We were probably assured with an amused smile that if we just kept coming back, we'd see the person get better. That made sense to us. We believed that the steps of NA worked in the lives of everyone. If they could work for us, they could work for this horrible person too. Time passed, and at some point we noticed that the person didn't seem as rude or obnoxious as before. In fact, he or she had become downright tolerable, maybe even likable. We got a pleasant jolt as we realized who had really gotten better. Because we had kept coming back, because we had kept working the steps, our perception of this person had changed. The person who plagued us had become tolerable because we'd developed some tolerance. He or she had become likable because we developed the ability to love. So who really gets better? We do. As we practice the program, we gain a whole new outlook on those around us by gaining a new outlook on ourselves. Just for today, as I get better, so will others. Today, I will practice tolerance and try to love those I meet. That's a wonderful reading. So who do you think gets better? Who do you think gets better? I do want to say that I believe it was me. I believe that I got better. You know, when I got to the program, I was already pretty upset that I landed in Narcotics Anonymous. Yeah, that one I couldn't figure out. I thought I was managing my using, right? I thought I was managing it, but what was actually happening was just that I was using to manage my emotions, and my emotions were continually getting out of control because I wasn't being true to them. I wasn't acknowledging them. And if I had a burst of anger, I guess I was more like passive aggressive. If I had a burst of anger, it was sudden, it was precise, and it was intentional. When I say precise, right, it was intentional. I needed to let someone know, whoever was on the other end of that, that you can only go so far. You cannot cross this line. And if they attempted it, I would respond in rage, and I would feel justified in my righteous indignation. How dare you? Right? And I find today, the way that I manage my emotions is that I give them room. I wish there's this video that I had seen. Um, and it was of a father with his little toddler who was having a fit. Um, they both were half dressed and just a family doing life, right? But he darkened the video in certain areas, but they were he was busy making room for her, right? And she was so, so, so angry. She just could not stop screaming and crying. And he couldn't let her leave a certain area, right? You could see that he was trying to restrict her movement, but allow her the space where he was at, where he could monitor her behavior. And he was just as kind and loving with her, allowing her to kick and scream, and he was making room for her. But he was also letting her know, I'm your dad. I'm not going anywhere. You are my child. You're small. You're a toddler. I'm not going to allow you. I'm losing my voice, so excuse me. So he was like, you're a toddler. I'm not going to allow you just to roam through the house in this condition. There's no telling what you will do. Right? He was letting her know that I have the ultimate authority here. And you can be angry, but you're only going to go so far with this. But he let her have her space as long as she didn't cross the line that he had established. It seemed like it went on for a long time, but he videotaped the whole thing. And then eventually she got so tired. She just crawled up into his lap and hugged her little arms around his neck and went to sleep. It was the most amazing video to watch. And that's how we are when we come into recovery. It's like, I'm in a new world. I really don't want to be here. I may have been mandated, or I may have come out of desperation to save my life or a relationship, but I don't want to be here. And don't you think for an instant that we're going to be friends. Matter of fact, I don't like you. I don't like you. And I definitely don't like you, because you talk about God every share you have, right? And that's how it is. And eventually, I don't know, usually people can tell when you don't care for them. Usually people can tell. I used to be one of those individuals in the meeting. If you didn't care for me, I made sure to come give you a hug, because you didn't know anything about me. How dare you? What don't you like? Right? And some people, no, I'm good. Are you? You don't seem good. Are you? You're good. You're sitting here with your arms crossed, your face all frowned up. You're making snide remarks to the person sitting next to you when other people are sharing. You giggling when there's nothing funny except between you and whoever you're talking to during the meeting. And you do it only when I open my mouth, or someone else that has some clean time and managed to get off of the fan, right, in the room. In other words, we managed to stop being passed around by the men in the fellowship, and you're angry at us and you know so little about us. You need a sponsor and you need to work some steps. And I found, even for myself, the people that I could not stand when I got to the fellowship, they were the women that had more clean time than me. They were the women that were, trying to think if that one lady was married, but out of the three of them that I couldn't stand, two of them were married. And one of them had a long-term relationship, a partner that she was with. And they had more clean time than me. And they were always together. They were always hanging out with each other. And in fact, I think there was a fourth one. Eventually she relapsed, but they were always hanging out together. And they really did not put forth a lot of effort to embrace the newcomer, um, as far as I could see, right? But I was just jealous of their camaraderie. I was jealous that they called each other every day and they had, chit chat sessions and meeting up for lunch and doing coffee and recovering together. I was upset that I wasn't invited into that circle just because. And so really there was nothing about them that warranted my hatred. I hated myself, so of course I hated everyone else. But with time, when I started doing service work in Indiana, and I would come up here to Michigan for events, I began to figure out, oh, they do service work together. Oh, I understand. They're the ones that are on the fun and entertainment committee. Having fun is what they do. Oh, okay. And they have regular meetings. Their committee has regular meetings to decide what event they're going to do once a month. Okay. All right. Their husbands and them, they go shopping and buying all the good things that need to be cooked for the event. They buy the raffle ticket. Oh, okay. So when I'm coming up from Indiana up to Michigan for these parties and dances, they're the ones that are behind why I'm having such a good time. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it. I get it. Oh my gosh. You ladies are amazing. And you know what? They're still amazing. They are still amazing women in the rooms of recovery. I didn't become like besties with them, but I can remember one of them became my sponsor. One of them became my sponsor. And the other one, she became, I want to say, like a confidant, right? She just was that extra person in my network that we had similar lives, similar relationships with men, and we began to vibe. We had our own little sisterhood connection. And then, yeah, there were times I was worried about whether or not she was gossiping about my business to the rest of them. I'll call them the squad, right? I'll call them the squad. I was worried about whether or not she was gossiping from time to time, but I just learned how to disclose so much information until she disclosed some of her good information. And then when I felt comfortable that the level of disclosure was the same, I would, surrender and go back to being open, right? So I just want to say that I got better. I was the one that as I grew in the fellowship and into the spiritual principles, the squad no longer bothered me. And to tell you the truth, even today, the relationship with them has changed again, right? Because now they're moving into their 60s. They're moving into their 60s and they're starting to experience some life-changing health issues. And I'm starting to watch them grow older with grace. And I'm becoming every bit of a woman that they were and are, right? I'm starting to become that individual that people newer in recovery turn to and ask questions. And I'm still doing service work. I've done some events, but I'm not really big on the in-person thing still yet. because I have some compromising health issues. And I just want to make sure that I stay around as this COVID thing takes its different turns, right? So I want to encourage you this morning to give that person in the meeting that you cannot stand a break. Start figuring out what it is about them that you appreciate and move into that. Think about that when you see them. When they start to share, instead of starting a side conversation, which is highly disrespectful, or giggling and whispering, when you hear them share, just look towards them. You don't have to look at them with that glare or stare that is very uncomfortable, but just find a area above their head, right? And focus on that area above their head. They won't be able to tell if you're looking directly at them or not, but definitely pay attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to the message and not so much the messenger. And let your feelings and your thoughts about what they're sharing roll away, because it's not our job to judge anyone, right? And so I want to thank you today for joining me. I look forward to being with you tomorrow. You have a beautiful day. April 28th. Make it the best April 28th you've had in the whole year.